Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take this picture again from my coloring book, The Buns, and use green pencils from Bayland, Polychromos, Guanghui, and Prismacolor and blend them using these items that you can find around your house and one more that I decided to add on at the end. And most people don't actually have paint thinner or terpenoid sitting around, and I realized that, but I did end up using that, so I put that in the picture. And here are the green pencils that I randomly chose from the 4 companies that I mentioned before. And all I'm going to do today is color in the leaves. And I kind of had a plan at first, and I was going to draw and color, well, this is Bayland first, and I was going to color with each of the pencils and do this whole systematic thing, but it didn't quite work out that way. So this is a little bit random because I kind of got into the whole thing and I wanted to see what this one was going to look like and that one was going to look like. So the first thing I did was draw just a regular area with the Bayland green. And then I actually dipped the point of the same pencil into a brand new thing of Vaseline and started to color in that same area on the other side. And I have to say, it was smooth. It was super creamy, and it almost made it feel like it was maybe heated up. Remember when we were kids and we took that red Maybelline eyeliner and we heated it up with a lighter? That's exactly what it felt like. So I'm not quite sure what it's going to do to the picture or the image. Oop, and now I'm taking the same pencil and I'm dipping it into the cap of baby oil. And that baby oil happened to smell like vanilla, so it was very nice today. Much better than paint thinner in general. This was also super smooth. But once again, it was automatic burnishing. So yes, it turns like really creamy and you barely have to push. And you can see, compared to that first area that I drew, or I should say colored with that Bayland pencil, it's much more bold, it's much more vibrant, and it was pretty easy to do. Now I reached over and I took the 70% rubbing alcohol and I dipped the point into that. And as you can see, it did not do the same thing. In fact, it almost seemed to dilute the pencil, and it also went right through the paper. So if this was in a book, especially a CreateSpace book, it would probably go right through and ruin the paper behind it if you didn't have something to block it behind that original sheet. So I decided to take a look. And yep, that alcohol went right through, and I did, dip that point in, so it was a bit of a drop there. So maybe that wasn't even a fair judgment, and I will later on just dip a Q-tip in and then later on a blending stump and see if that improves it. So now I'm coloring in a little bit more with the same pencil. And my plan is to take a Q-tip, dip it in the alcohol, and see if that works out any better. Because I've seen some other people do this. So I just went right over the top. And I didn't love it. And yes, it's because, the Q-tip's so thick. But it was just too, I don't know. So I took the stump and I blended it in, and I liked it much better that way. So the Q-tip for me, I gave that a thumbs down. You might like it for bigger areas, and in all fairness, I didn't do a big area, and as you can see, it went right through the paper. So I don't know what that would do to other sheets, like I said before. Now I decided I would take a Palmer's cocoa butter stick and see if that works. Now this was a little harder to use because it's not as smooth as the Vaseline. It's kind of, it's more formed. So I had to kind of smush it around a little bit on my finger. But I have to say, it did the same thing. It made that pencil really smooth again. But I think that if I was going to pick, I would probably go with the Vaseline just because of ease of use. But if you have this on hand, or maybe I should have even tried chapstick or like a Bonnie Bell lip smacker, I bet those would work too. Anything with that kind of oil base to it. Oop, now I had an idea. I was going to take that 162 pencil that forms those really cool lines that you can go over. And I wanted to see if you could still go over it with these blenders, because I had a feeling that you couldn't. Now, you couldn't go over the other area, but I did find out that even if I used the oil or the Vaseline, that 162 pencil still showed through. So now I dipped a Guanghui green into the mineral oil or the baby oil and went over the whole thing, and it blended really nicely. And as you can see, that 162 pencil, I swear there's some kind of magic quality about it. It still shows through. So I dipped a Prismacolor in the baby oil, and I have to say, I didn't feel like it blended as well. And I was wondering if it was because it was wax-based. So I added some Vaseline, and I did wipe it off in between each product, because I didn't want the Vaseline to get mixed up with the baby oil or the Palmer's cocoa butter. But it wasn't as smooth. So that was kind of interesting to me. So here I drew some more lines with the 162 pencil, and I took the same Prismacolor and I started to go over the top, and surprisingly, even with the Prismacolor pencils, that color still shows through. So it kind of looked a little bit blotchy, and I kind of liked the Prismacolor without any of those blenders in it. So I dipped the stump into baby oil, went over the top. No, it wasn't baby oil, sorry. It was terpenoid, went over the top, and that was the end of that. It blended really nicely, but those colors underneath did not shine through. So for the Prismacolor, it seemed like the terpenoid was working the best so far. So I'm flipping the paper over one more time, and you can see all the areas where the oil and the Vaseline and everything basically came through. So I figured I would do another leaf. I'll do this part of it without anything. And then use the Palmer's cocoa butter and see how that works. And as you can see, it definitely does. It makes it more intense, it makes it smoother, and it makes everything relatively easy to blend. So what I basically learned here, after going back and forth with these 4 different kind of pencils, is that the The oil-based pencils seem to work a little better with the oils, and even the baby oil, which is basically a petroleum byproduct, actually a petroleum product anyway. So I don't even know if that's is it real oil? I'm not quite sure, but it's it's sort of in the same family as paint thinner. These are all chemicals made of distillation, made from a distillation process. So they're all doing something to break down the the bindings or whatever's holding those colored pencils together and make it easier to spread it around on a surface. I also learned the best way to use the rubbing alcohol is definitely not to dip the pencil in, but to put the color down and then blend it with a blending stump. I wouldn't recommend a Q-tip. It's just too big and it just sort of smashes it around a bit, and it just it's just too big. I also learned that the Turpenoid or the paint thinner probably was the best thing to use for the Prismacolors. And like I said before, it's probably because it's a wax-based product. I also found when you're dipping that pencil in either the Vaseline or the oil or the chapstick, it makes the pencil lay down really, really thick. So, like I said before, it's instant burnishing, and it's really hard to go over the top with another color, unless you go over the top again with Gamsol, Turpenoid, or paint thinner. I kind of went over the edge here a little bit, but what I was doing and what I was trying to do was go over some of the areas that I colored in with any of the oils, and it's really hard to put any colors over the top once you use those oils. So I went over it with the Turpenoid, and it thinned it out. It gave it like a surface again, and then I was able to go over and make some details with darker colors. The lighter colors didn't fly so well. Here I am thinning it out with the blender stick and the Turpenoid. Now I'm going back and forth with some of the pencils. I think this one was a Guanghui pencil, and that one was a Polychromos. Now I wanted to try the Vaseline with a few lighter shades of the Prismacolor because I didn't have so much luck with the Prismas before. Once again, super smooth, super creamy. This was kind of fun to mess around with and try. And if you've never given it a whirl, I would definitely give it a shot. So I tried all these items, these petroleum-based products, and now I figured, let's try olive oil. I had no idea because I've never seen anybody use this before, and I'm not saying that I would recommend this, but if you want to give it a whirl and you just want to try it, I mean, I think that you can use this in a pinch. So I put a little bit in the bottom of a bowl, dipped in an even lighter green, and just started to color. And I have to say, this felt really smooth too. So that kind of debunked my theory from before that maybe the petroleum product is breaking up the whatever. Maybe it's just the oil that's just softening up the pigment and allowing us to draw smoother and creamier. So it all soaks through. It's all going to come through the back, as you can see. But it isn't the end of the world, especially if you're printing out papers and you're not worried about a coloring book. So now I wanted to see if I could go over the top of this leaf that I did with olive oil, and I used a darker color, and I sure could. It's a little bit smoother, it's a little bit creamier, and it's a little bit harder to go over. It's kind of like you burnish, like I've said many times before in this video, but it's all possible. So that's about it for the rest of this. I'm just going to be fussing around and making the leaves look prettier, because I will eventually finish this picture. I hope you subscribe to me. I hope you like this video. Hit the subscribe button below and then the little bell so you won't miss a thing. And I also have a giveaway going where I'm giving a set of 150 Prismacolor pencils and your choice of my coloring books. I will put the link below. And let me think, is there anything else? Well, I'm happy that you're all here. I'm happy that you joined me. I love doing this. And I'm just checking if the places that I used oil with or Vaseline comes off anymore, and it really doesn't, which kind of surprised me. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else? No. I just want to thank you for joining me. Please give me a like or a share, and know that I appreciate you very much. So have a great day. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.